Throughout the Amazing Digital Circus, we've seen all sorts of unusual things happen to the characters. Recently, we've started to notice things that are inexplicable even by digital circus standards. In the latest episode, Caine created a butterfly that healed Rágatha, and Caine knew nothing about it. But have you ever thought about how each of the circus members has their own unique traits and abilities? Today, let's explore how their characteristics might reflect their past and what that has given them in the digital world. Let's start with the fact that all the characters look like cartoons. And in fact, they have become cartoons. They don't have normal human needs. They don't need to eat or sleep. They are practically invulnerable. In the third episode, we learn that they don't even need to breathe. It doesn't affect them in any way. And besides, it just makes them do funny things. Pomni's face starts to change colors. Caine starts to glow. Rágatha's hair stands on end. Gangle's mask starts to spin. And Zubul's limbs straighten. But of all of them, only Jax has not revealed his special ability to anyone, deciding to keep it a secret. In addition, they have other abilities that are reflected in their images, which are unique and unlike each other. And I think this is not without reason. Perhaps this gives us hints about the past of each member of the team, which is reflected in the unusual individual abilities in the digital circus. Let's start with Pomni. Her appearance in the digital circus resembles a jester. Also, as we have already seen in previous episodes, her body can stretch quite a lot in different directions. And this is not just a cartoon feature, as other characters cannot do this. Each of the participants has their own unique trait. In Pomni's case, her ability to stretch in different directions may reflect her ability to adapt to various life circumstances. As we can see from her behavior in the first episodes, she is a very anxious person. But perhaps her appearance hints that she was able to adapt to any circumstances or environment, like a jester hiding anxiety or fear behind a mask. After all, a jester in the usual sense is a contradictory figure. He entertains the audience, but behind the mask of laughter, he hides his own fears and vulnerability. In the real world, Pomni could behave in exactly this way, and so, in the circus, this became a reflection of her image. Her ability to stretch may reflect the fact that she was someone who adapted to the mood of others, as if stretching her own self to meet the expectations of others. But inside her, there is always a point of support to which she returns. Something similar can be said about Gangle. Her image immediately speaks of fragility and vulnerability. She looks like a long ribbon with theatrical masks of comedy and tragedy. This is a reference to theater, creativity, and emotional role-playing. We already see her creative side in the show. She loves to draw, and once mentioned that she studied graphic design but never finished her studies. Her body, capable of unraveling and being flexible, can be seen as a symbol of what she could be in reality. Unlike Pomni, who could simply adapt, Gangle was more likely to bend to the expectations of others, sacrificing her own desires for the sake of others. Perhaps in real life she was under pressure from her environment, parents, teachers, or social norms, and therefore gradually gave up on realizing herself in creativity, becoming convenient and obedient. This is also indicated by her peculiarity with the mask, which constantly cracks and does not stay on. The comedic mask, symbolizing joy, constantly breaks, and then only the mask of tragedy remains. This can be understood as a reflection of her true emotions. Sadness and depression were always hidden behind a forced smile. In the digital circus, the mask literally cannot hold up, because there is no way to hide completely here. She tries again and again to put on the mask of happiness, but her inner state is too heavy for that to work. Hence her flexible but fragile image. Zubul immediately catches the eye with her angular, broken appearance. She seems to be made up of parts that don't fit together well. Even her speech and behavior match her appearance. She is sarcastic, sharp, witty, as if she too is made up of sharp corners. This fragmentation of her body may symbolize her inner world. In the real world, Zubul may have been a person who could not put herself together and could not find a coherent image of her personality. She tried different roles and did different things. She worked in a bar, did tattoos, and possibly many other things. This suggests that Zubul may have suffered from an identity crisis, unable to accept herself, which is why she constantly tried to change something. However, her peculiarity can become her strength, and in the circus, her image clearly emphasizes this. Her ability lies in the fact that she can reassemble herself, add new parts. This shows that Zubul can be very adaptive and flexible in terms of life experience. Yes, she seems to be constantly searching, and although this prevents her from feeling whole, at the same time it makes her incredibly capable. Rágatha appears in the circus as a rag doll, soft, cute, and safe in appearance. A doll is an object that is controlled and has no will of its own. This is also reflected in her image in the circus. Unlike the others, she does not stand out in any way, does not show her self. This image reflects her possible past in the real world. She could have been a person who had no right to independence, a person whose decisions and emotions were constantly suppressed. There is a detail in the show that may confirm this. Rágatha mentioned a tense relationship with her mother, who often made her feel guilty. This directly points to emotional manipulation, where a child is turned into a puppet, subject to the expectations of others. As a result, Rágatha learned to be gentle, caring, always thinking of others, but at the same time deprived of the opportunity to express her own self. Her ability in the circus is manifested rather in her very nature. When Rágatha is injured, cotton wool literally falls out of her body. This emphasizes the idea of inner emptiness. Perhaps she is simply insensitive to pain. This can be seen as a reflection of her habit in reality of ignoring her own suffering in order to continue caring for others. Caine is a character whose embodiment as a chess king can hardly be considered accidental. In chess, the king is the main figure around whom the entire game is built, and it is this image that hints that in real life he could have been an important person. His avatar seems to emphasize his high status, and considering his abilities and behavior in the circus, it becomes clear that Caine occupies a special place in this world. For example, his ability to create objects and effectively invent new rules, as was the case in the 6th episode when he created a butterfly to heal Rágatha. This feature sets him apart from the other inhabitants of the circus and suggests that Caine may have been one of those involved in the creation of digital reality itself. This version is supported by indirect details. Caine is noticeably more loyal to Caine than to others. In the 4th episode, he gave him the highest rating, even though he did not participate in the general adventure. And in the 5th episode, he assigned him key roles: team captain, presidential advisor, school teacher. This looks like special treatment for a figure who stands above the rest. His status is also confirmed by the fact that Caine had a wife and her avatar was similar to his own. Since the images of the circus participants never repeat themselves and are always individual, such a coincidence emphasizes the exclusivity of their position. Caine has been in the digital world longer than anyone else, which also supports the theory that he either accidentally or intentionally became one of the first to enter his own creation. His character may have been distorted during this time. He behaves erratically, often avoids communication, and hides. But sometimes he still shows remnants of sanity. The reasons for this madness may vary. On the one hand, it may be the result of the loss of his wife and long years in this place which gradually destroyed his mind. On the other hand, he may have already had mental health issues in the real world, such as schizophrenia, and it may have been this that prompted him to create the circus, a mad world where reality and illusion are mixed together. Jax is one of the most memorable members of the circus, and his image as a rabbit immediately sets a certain symbolic subtext. In culture, rabbits are often associated with cowardice and a desire to flee from danger. In Pilot, we saw Jax literally disappear, instantly teleporting away as if escaping from the situation with Kaufmo. This can be seen as a metaphor for his real life, a man who preferred to quickly avoid problems rather than face them head-on. His rabbit form reflects his fear of vulnerability and consequences. In reality, Jax may have been someone who was afraid to take responsibility, who avoided decisions by shifting them onto others or simply running away. His sarcastic behavior and caustic remarks become a form of defense. If he constantly keeps control of the situation and ridicules those around him, no one will notice his own weakness. Unlike Rágatha, who is controllable, or Gangle, whose emotions break through his mask, Jax chooses the opposite strategy: attack as a means of defense. But behind his sarcasm and coldness, you can see that he is also a prisoner of his own fears and therefore simply afraid of responsibility for others, afraid to let anyone get close to him, and therefore constantly running away. What do you think about this? Do you think the character's images and abilities could be a reflection of their past lives? Can Caine create butterflies because he was the creator of the digital circus? Share your guesses in the comments. The best comments will be featured in a new video. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Good luck everyone, and see you soon.